I put a PT course on a credit card, my first ever credit card, might I add. And that's kind of how this all started. So me and my sister both used to work together in retail here in Sydney, and one day we were brainstorming about what is it that we want to do with the rest of our lives, like what do we want our careers to be in, because we knew that we didn't want them to be in retail. And I remember saying to her, I would really love to be, a PT or a coach. And I remember her saying to me, she's like, the market's too saturated in that. Why would you, want to do that? I don't think that's a good idea because there's too many people already doing it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. The market is really saturated. And I remember I said this to her, I was like, if everybody thought the same way, like who would ever excel at anything? Like if everybody thought that way, you wouldn't really get anywhere. So I was like, you know what, frig it, this is what I'm going to do. So I remember then looking into the course, and this is where the credit card obviously comes in, because at the time it was such a big deal to me, because I've always been taught, don't really like live outside your means type of things. I remember it being like really scary. Oh, I'm getting this credit card and I'm doing this thing. And at that time, working in retail, I was getting paid pittance, like really low money. But I thought, by the time that I save this up, so much time is going to go by that I just want to get in and get this thing done now. So I remember taking out my first credit card, and yeah, breaking down what all the repayments and stuff was going to be. And after you kind of work that out, it was like I could pay my rent, I could eat, I could have my gym membership, because that was one thing that I was not wavering on no matter what. As soon as I had done those things, I could afford the course, and then once I got paid, all the money would go back onto the credit card, and I couldn't really do much else outside of that. And keep in mind, this was obviously like summertime, my friends were going out, they were going to festivals, they were doing loads of different things, and I was pretty much getting up early, going to work, which was like over an hour commute away, working in retail, then finishing, going to the gym, coming back, studying, meal prepping. I am getting ready for the next day. And another thing was, at the time, my hair was like bleach blonde. Obviously the cost of that was such an upkeep, where I was like, right, for this period of time, I'm just gonna have to, not dye the hair. And as you can see, my hair is dark, obviously naturally. The roots started to come, and I was like, oh good gosh. I was like, we'll have to do something about this. So I home dyed my hair. When you're blonde and your hair is naturally dark, not a good idea. If you ever see any photos of me with pink hair, know that that was through that phase, because I thought, right, it's a short period of time. If I put pink over my hair, I still look really cool. And it kind of like hides the fact that when I bleach my hair, it goes like an orangey yellow color. Even with all that, through that process, that is probably one of the first times that I can think of, being here, being away from Ireland, really more so on your own 2 feet, that I could show myself that I wasn't negotiating with my goal and my priority. I showed myself like self-devotion. This is what it looks like to just say you want to do the thing and show up and relentlessly do what it takes to get the thing that you said that you want. So I ended up studying that course for quite a while. It took a while to get through. And as I was doing that, I was just really ready to get out of retail and be in the industry. And I ended up getting a sales manager job in a gym, which was brilliant, because as soon as I was fully qualified, I could still work as a sales manager and build my client base along beside it. But the only thing it meant was, I was back crazy days. Well, I guess the crazy days never really stopped when I think about it. But it was like up at 4 a.m. I am coaching, commute to work, coaching clients from 6 till 9, doing the office from 9 till like 6, training myself in between, taking clients in the evening, going home, eat, shower, sleep, any other prep that I needed to do. And it was like, that on repeat. And I'd even take clients on Saturdays. Sunday was like the only day that I had, to myself. And that was a time where I realized the power in organization, because there was only a limited amount of time. You just had to make good with whatever you had to make it work. Eventually, I built up enough of a client base to leave sales and just coach. I think I'd said to myself, I was like, Liv, you have to get to 15, continuous solid clients a week before you allow yourself to leave the sales job. That's your first goal. Because I think I was like, I set it at that number because it was enough to, I think, kind of keep me going, but scary enough that it was like, you need to go out and make this thing, work now. So it was like my bare minimum. You have to have minimum 15 before you allow yourself to go. And it was like, okay. And then I eventually went and did that. And I had, my girls for sessions, and then I converted them over into like a hybrid model where it was I'd have the session with him, and then they'd have the online component with me, which I thought was so important because we could do so much in those 1 to 2 sessions per week, but it was like, what's happening in the 23 other hours of the day that I don't really know a lot about? And we don't get to find enough about that in the session, because in the session you want to come in and you want to focus and be in it and train. And there's so many other things that are like happening in those hours outside of that that are affecting your result. And I think this was such a huge piece. And that's where I really started to understand what was going on with these women. I've coached the women who have had no time, who have had every resource, who have felt stuck, who felt like they were doing everything right on paper. And across all of them, similar things showed up. And I've been her, the woman with a lot going on, not enough hours in the day, no money to spare, and still needing to figure out how to show up for herself. And I've sat across from hundreds of versions of her since. So when I say that I understand you, know that I understand it from both sides. Training these women, certain things kept coming up, not the same thing for every woman, but there was patterns. And I just wanted to list a few of them because you'll probably see yourself in some of them. So you've got the woman that will say, I train hard and I eat well, but nothing changes. And she's consistent and she genuinely believes what she is doing is right. But when you take a little bit of a closer look, is there any tracking? Is there any data? And a lot of the time there's not. And if you were to ask this woman why, she would say something like, I can't be bothered. And the reason that she says that is not that she really can't be bothered. It's that it's a safe place to hide. Because if she tracks and it still doesn't work, then it feels like it's exposing something and there's no excuses left. So not knowing, not having that data protects her. And this isn't laziness, but it is just something worth paying attention to. And then you've got the woman that thinks she wants to be smaller, but that's not actually what she wants. And a lot of this comes from where social media is at the minute. Like, I know that we've had this narrative driven towards women for many, many years, but way back when it was more magazines and TV. Now we have it in the palm of our hand and it's constant. And that's where, whether people realize it or not, are spending an average of 8 hours a day on this thing, whereas you wouldn't sit with a magazine or a TV for that long nearly every single day. This is where women can fall into the trap of what they see all the time is how they think that they should show up. But it's really interesting because when you sit down with this woman, I ask her, describe to me your dream physique, and she'll name things like, I want to be toned, but I want to feel strong and, be confident. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then you're, naming this or showing me something of this like small, frail, miniature version of yourself, and it's like those two things are going to require two completely different approaches. You've got one that's restriction, and then the other one is going to be, fuel, recovery, performance. Our bodies are so amazing. They can do amazing things for us, but the body that, that we want, the strong, athletic, the one that can perform, it can lift heavy, it's toned, it recovers well. The same physique that goes out to meals with their family and their friends and they're present and they enjoy it and they know how to be balanced. That version of us is built. It is not shrunk down. So this is where I always like to try lead women with the values of performance. Performance in the gym, performance with what you do around your nutrition. Because if you have performance in mind, you're always thinking of how can my body be more capable? Not just how it looks, right? How it looks is going to be a byproduct, but how the hell can it be more capable, right? If we can lift really strong, heavy things and we feel strong, it's going to make us feel confident. If we can fuel it, if we can give it the right recovery, we're going to do that from love and not a place from fear or hatred or guilt. And I think that's something that's a really important piece. And then you've got the woman who's done the programs, the 8-week challenges, the meal plans, the downloaded all the freebies. She's done all of it. And while she's in it, she's really strict, she's on the ball. But the minute something in her life happens, that's when it all goes to shit. So when an event shows up, when a holiday happens, when anything is outside of that strict structure is when it all falls apart. Because this is the thing, discipline is not actually the issue. It's learning to have a certain set of standards that will come with you when life stops being perfect, when things don't go according to plan. How can you show up and have a certain amount of rigidity with enough flexibility, right? Because we can't always be rigid. We have to learn when to actually flex and bend those rules. But the issue with this particular type of woman is she only knows how to be on. She knows only how to be all in. But then what that means is when you're all in, there has to be a period where you're all off. And if this is something that we're doing as part of our lifestyle for the rest of our lives, we need to differentiate between what is the amount of intensity that we have when we're working towards something in a short period of time. What is our lifestyle going to look like outside of that? How's our training going to look? How do we show up to our nutrition? How does that look when we're in a different environment? Because that's the important piece. And this is what I want for women that I work with, is to be able to actually walk into any environment and know that they have a particular set of standards that they hold for themselves. To know how to, if an event shows up, they don't actually get overwhelmed by it and go, oh my God, this is too much for me. I will just stop now and I'll start again Monday. Or when all my events finish in 2 months' time, then that's when I get back on track. No, instead they're able to walk into any environment and go, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. I've got this. And that's a particular set of skills and tools that you learn over a period of time that allow you to feel capable in these different environments, in these different instances. But if you can't currently navigate the hard parts of your week, it's just because nobody has taught you how to yet. Nobody has yet taught you how your week will look without that perfect structure that you have. Now, if you're watching this and you've ever said to yourself, I just need to be more strict. I don't want to think about food anymore. I just need a break and I'll start again next week. I just need to lose X amount of kilos and then I'll allow myself to be confident, wear the dress, or be happy. I've been going to the gym for years, and at first things changed, but not much has changed in my physique or my strength for a while. I just need a little gym plan to follow and that'll fix everything. It's not that you need more information on the things that you think, or that you need more willpower or more discipline. You've done all of those things before. What you actually need is more understanding of yourself, more understanding of the process, and how to learn to show up when things aren't perfect, and nobody has taught you that yet. And this is what this channel is going to be, the longer version of the stuff that I can't put on Instagram, because normally I have to chop it all down by about 70% to make them fit. But it's going to be training, nutrition, mindset for the women that are over 30 that are done restarting over. Let this be the last time that you restart over. This is why I'm actually really excited to do one of these, because I always get really into a topic and I speak it into my phone, so I do like dictation and I'll speak it all out and it comes out with this big massive thing, and I look at it and I'm like, gosh, I'm gonna have to cut that down to make it work. So one of the reasons that I'm so excited for this to not be like Instagram is I don't want it to just be short form content, highlight reels. You know, I'm not about quick fixes. That's just not me. I want to share with you my tools and my skills that I've learned, anything that's going to help you move the needle closer towards your goal. So if you're a woman who is over 30, who's done shrinking herself, who is done starting over, then you're in the right place. Stick around and don't forget to hit subscribe.